I've been interested in doing that since I was a little kid. Before I had any hope of actually working for a publisher, I was making little comics on my own. And so it's, a lot of times people are asking me, like, what are the steps they need to take to break into the business or to, like, become a cartoonist? And it's the thing that I never really want to tell people, which is the real answer, is that you got to have sort of wanted to do it since you were a little kid and practiced all along. That's sort of the intangible quality that you can't get from the school. When I was in high school, I started making mini comics that I would print up and staple together at a local copy shop. And this was pre-internet, so that was sort of the way a kid gets his work out into the world. And I just started sending them out to cartoonists whose work I liked, and if I went on a trip, I'd bring a few copies and take them into the comic shops in whatever town I was visiting. And that was just how it got started, basically just me kind of pounding the pavement a little bit. I was losing money then, but more important than money, it was just like to get a letter back from a cartoonist whose work I'd admired or something. That kind of encouragement was a lot more valuable than, the possible profit margin on something like that was so nominal anyway that a little postcard from someone meant a lot more to me. And that was kind of how I learned, just trial and error. I've been a cartoonist with the publisher Drawn and Quarterly for most of my career. Well, they were just my favorite publisher just as a fan, because they were at the time they were only putting out a small handful of titles, and I was like really, really heavily influenced by all the artists they were publishing at the time. Kind of like when I was a little kid, you have the fantasy of working for Marvel or DC or something, and at that point in my life, I had a fantasy of working for Drawn and Quarterly just because I admired everything they put out. I just totally out of the blue submitted some work to them, got no response at first, and just kept sending them stuff over the years, and finally I got like a polite rejection letter from them and stuck with it, kept sending them stuff, and I finally wore them down, I guess. I wouldn't recommend that. My poor publisher probably would not want that advice to get out. To me, the big two were Drawn and Quarterly and Fantagraphics, and by the time I was in high school, I really didn't have any interest in Marvel and DC anymore. And there have been things that have come up. They have projects that somehow I might possibly fit into or something like that. But it's not. I guess if I had all the time in the world, I would pursue a lot of things that would be more of kind of larks or little fun diversions or something. But the problem is that it just takes me so long to produce just the small amount of work that I even can do, that I really, really have to be selective in terms of outside stuff. So basically getting a comic out for Drawn Quarterly every once in a while is about as much as I can manage right now.